Welcome back, YouTube. Welcome to another wonderful video. We've got a great one for you today by our old friend, Helena. And so let's get into what she's talking about, because she's saying something about how Black women are just so difficult to please. So let's get into it and have fun.
But I stand firm on what I believe and what my values are, but I still don't understand the bad attitude. But I do understand the entitlement, and I don't justify it at all. The entitlement is due to being delusional. Social media has made Black women absolutely delusional. And I know it. I'm a Black woman, and I'm speaking from my experience, from people that I know personally, from my own views and beliefs, things that I go through. But a middle-aged woman, I mean, you know, I'm 45 years old. A middle-aged woman that looks halfway decent can go outside, can go online, can post something on my Facebook, on my Instagram, even here, can post something, and there are going to be lots of men that just, you're so beautiful, can I take you out? I want to meet you, I want to talk to you, I want to. So now in her real life, when she's going back and forth to work, or, you know, a lot of people just go to work or go to the gym, go to the grocery store, really aren't out and about like they used to be, right? She's not getting attention. She's not meeting a bunch of people, but she get all this attention online. So then her head gets like this big, like it can't even fit in this camera. And so when she meets you, and she's definitely been consumed with social media, because most of us have our phone in our hand and we're consuming 2 hours, which used to be like crazy to be.
All right, so Helena is definitely one of my favorite people to actually, watch her videos, because I always think she takes a unique angle, and a really great angle, and a very realistic angle. So, if you have not watched Helena, I definitely encourage you to watch some of her videos. I don't do all her videos, but I probably do maybe 10%. Anywho, let's get to it. So she's basically talking about this whole idea with social media and really online. And I put up a video. It's really interesting. I actually got a comment about something recently, but I put up a video a long time, and I actually sent that commenter to that particular video, because I was basically trying to say in that video that all women and really all men are attractive. See, the God that we serve rarely, if ever, makes a mistake. And the reason why we believe that some people are more attractive than others is really coming down to two factors. The very first factor is what our media is actually pushing forward to say this look and style is attractive. We see this a lot with Black men in our media. So for maybe 5 years, the light-skinned man is in vogue, and every woman wants a light-skinned Black man. But then you'll go another 5 years, and now the dark-skinned man is in vogue. In fact, I've heard from somebody, because I really don't think this is my type of film, but Tyler Perry has a brand new film with Kelly Rowland in it. And in that particular film, what I have heard, okay, like I said, I have not seen this film, is that the light-skinned guy is the bad guy, and the dark-skinned guy is the good guy. Well, let's remember, Diary of a Mad Black Woman, which was Tyler Perry's first film. And in that, the dark-skinned guy was the bad guy, and the light-skinned guy was the good guy. So we can see how this kind of plays back and forth. And, like I said, my background is actually film and media, and you can kind of see trends where, Hollywood leans towards one or another, especially within, the Black culture. We see this all the time. So that being said, all people really are attractive. Now, the issue is like I said, what media is pushing. And then the second issue is how well you glam yourself up as a woman, or you groom yourself as a man. If you go through all of my videos, you'll see me wearing various outfits, right? So a lot of times I'll have a suit on. Today I have a vest on. Sometimes I'll just have a shirt on, and sometimes I'll even just have a pullover shirt on. But what if I got up every single time and I had a raggedy shirt on? And every time you saw me, my beard was not groomed and my hair was not cut. I actually do have hair up there. Um, but what if it wasn't cut, right? What if every time I got on here, my face wasn't washed and I had, whatever you want to call it, crust, sleep, or whatever it is in my eyes? When you see that and you see me like that, you would basically be like, ugh, this dude, he kind of busted. But it's not really that I'm busted. I'm just not cleaned up. I'm not groomed. Right. So this is something, every single person can do. I remember growing up and being in, middle school, high school, and I would literally watch dudes that I thought, based on my understanding of what women liked, I used to think they were ugly, just butt ugly, but they would dress really well and they would always be groomed and the women would just go crazy for them. So it showed me that it's not so much about what you were born with, but how you work with what you were born with. So that being said, now let's get to Helena's point. So now Helena is basically saying that out here in these YouTube spaces, okay, you're dealing with people, okay, that are now getting their head blown up. And one of the things that I've learned, especially when it comes to women, is that a lot of women are really focused in on the opportunities that they believe that they have. So a lot of them make decisions based off that. And we've talked about this before because in our world, in our dating space, we call this hypergamy. It is the concept of leveling up. It is a concept of dating and going higher and higher and higher. Well, women in general, and actually men too, to a lesser degree, live in a space of hypergamy. Now, hypergamy is not always just about trying to get to a man that actually has more money. It also could be trying to get to a man who they think is more attractive, or trying to get to a man who they think is more intelligent or more fun or whatever it is. And most people settle in a place where they feel that they can comfortably maintain this level, but get the best person that they think they could possibly can at that level. So with the internet opens women up to this world of being attractive. That even if you are a size 18, you can be attractive. Why? Because there's probably 50,000 men or more throughout the whole world that will find you attractive. You can go out to Instagram and you can look up, look through tags and you can find big, beautiful women. And then you follow them or you go over there to them and you'll see literally thousands and thousands of followers. You can go see dark-skinned women. Thousands and thousands of followers. Biracial women, thousands and thousands of followers. No matter what type of woman you're dealing with, you can find thousands and thousands of followers. And that's why things like OnlyFans work so well for women because they don't really have to care. All they have to do is show up. Literally, people have made jokes about this, but literally, if a woman just takes pictures of her feet, she can probably earn a living. That lets you know how important beauty is to men, but it also lets you know right there how men see beauty and the fact that every woman really does have something to offer in the beautiful world. Now, the problem is, which is what Helena is getting to, is the fact that this encourages women to basically have their head really big because they're like, oh, I can get all this attention. I can get all this attention. But see, that's the problem. See, any woman can get attention. Any woman. And see, this is the thing I don't think a lot of women truly understand because they think, well, I'm getting it and she's not getting it, so I must be really special. But in reality, you're not. The key to knowing how your worth is not even about how much money a man will spend on you. It's not about where he will take you or what he will do for you. It's more about, is he willing to spend his life with you? And I'm not even just saying this from a marriage perspective, because, I'm all about marriage and that's the main thing that I talk about. But your true worth to a man is in whether or not he wants to see you every single day. He wants to see you at your best. He wants to see you at your worst. He wants to see you when you're mad. He wants to see you when you're lonely. He wants to see you when you're scared. If he does not have all of that, then he really doesn't want you. And a lot of women that might be watching be like, nah, Jay, that's not true. It doesn't work that way. Well, okay, let's be real for a second. Okay, if you remove the Christian energy from me, okay, I have learned enough about women that I know I could go out here and probably build me a squad of women. Okay, some men might think that there are very beautiful women in my squad, and some people might not think that there's much of anything. It just depends, again, on the energy of that particular man. But I can build a roster, okay, and I could probably take my roster out and do things for them depending upon where I got them. Because if I get a woman that makes $40,000 a year and I take her to Cheesecake Factory, she's probably going to be very happy. I don't have to focus on women that are making six figures. I can find plenty of pretty women, who work at the grocery store. Okay, there's a lot of young girls that work in the grocery store, and believe it or not, many of them have kind of looked at me with that, hey, type of deal. So, that being said, I can talk to those women. And if I take those women out, if I put gas in their car, if I do even a little bit for them, take them on a trip, just to the beach, to Florida, to Disneyland, a lot of them will be excited because for them, that is bigger than what they thought they would be able to have. But does that make me special? No. And you say, well, that's a money thing and all this other kind of stuff. And do I care about those women? It could be no. I just want to hang out with them. I want to have fun with them. I want to do what I want to do with them. And then when I get bored with them or they just annoy me, with their attitude, then I just basically drop them off and I give me another one. And see, this is what powerful men do. This is what men who have actually done their work have the ability to do. And so a lot of women don't really understand that, I can get this attention. I can get this attention. But I'm telling you, every woman can. And there are also men that know how to pick the style of woman that they like and then glow her up. Because I've talked about that before, where there are men, and I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm not saying I'm all that in a bag of chips because I'm not. And I'm not a millionaire or anything like that. All right. I'm not some big baller, here in Atlanta. But I can run into a woman, and if I like her, I can do a Sheen haul. Some of the women know what that is. Or, one of those types of places, buy this woman, $250, $300 worth of Sheen clothes, because them clothes real cheap. Go buy her 2 or 3 pairs of shoes. And now, at least when she's hanging out with me, she looking good.
Being on social media, but people spend hours on social media, but the average about 2 hours. And seeing other women say, hey, he got to do this, he got to do this, he got to do that in order to even see me. Even for me to just walk out the door, he has to, it's gone so far as women are asking you before you take her on a date, do her hair, get her hair done, get her nails done, pay for the babysitter, and then after that, go on. I think after they go on a couple of dates, but before they give you some, you gotta pay their rent, gotta pay car notes. It's like always, even people that seem to be doing well, women will still try you and see if you're going to pay.
I just got to stop right there because I have to tell the men that are watching me, if a woman tries you with this, say no. I think y'all already know that, but I just got to kind of put it out there. And the main reason why I have to say that is because if she's asking you to do all that, then more than likely she doesn't like you. It's almost like the Big Cheesecake fiasco that we had a little ways back. If you haven't seen that video, you can actually watch it right here on my channel. But you don't want to deal with women that do that because 9 times out of 10, they don't like you. And they're just trying to use you. Now, I actually had one lady in all of my dating that mentioned that. And it was funny to me because she mentioned it after the date. So she definitely wasn't trying to put it on me at the date. But when I was taking her back home, because this is one of the few times where I actually picked her up. And when I was taking her back home, she actually mentioned the fact that she had a child and that she likes it when men pay, for, the child, to basically be at home. And I'm thinking to myself, that's your problem. That's not my problem. Okay, now we get married or whatever, then that becomes my problem. But I was like, until then, you dealing with a babysitter, that's your problem. And so, that's just one of those things that I just kind of have to make sure that the guys that are watching really, really get that home. And like she said, they're trying you. They're trying to see where your wall is, where your rules begin. And I'm always telling men, you need to have a set of rules and regulations that you use when you're dating, because women will definitely try to push you up against that rule to try to see where, how far they can go with you.
And if you don't will have an attitude and block you, ghost you, leave you alone. Because why do I have to settle with somebody that's not going to pay my rent, pay my bills, make sure I'm, dripping and have the best luxury bags and shoes when somebody else will? Okay. And like I said, in her everyday life, men aren't coming to her like that. Or maybe they are. Because I meet people all the time. I meet people just going to Starbucks, going to the gas station, going to the grocery store. People do approach me. I was just sitting in the, waiting for my daughter to try on some pants where we at Hollister. And I was just sitting out, just waiting on her to try on pants. And the guy was like, sparked up a conversation and asked if he could have my number, if he could take me out. So men do still approach black women, old black women in their 40s, okay, with children.
Yeah, and I've always said that too. Good women get approached. For the ladies that are watching, I know there's a lot of videos out here saying men don't approach anymore. And again, I'm always, encouraging you all to understand that our internet is not balanced. All right. People like shock value. And so they're trying to encourage you with shock value. But the real world really hasn't gone anywhere. There are still men that will approach women. There are still women who are really good and nice. But again, a lot of the women that she's talking about here are basically instinct-driven women. All right. So if you've been on my channel a lot, you will understand what I mean by instinct-driven person. Most of the internet will call these women masculine women. And the reason why they get approached so much is just simply because, believe it or not, instinct-driven women understand power. And power comes with beauty. Beauty, they understand that beauty is power. That's true. And so it's not hard for them to miss a meal. It's not hard for them to stay on a diet. It's not hard for them to go to the gym. But when you actually really get around these women, you'll find very quickly that they have a very structured life and they kind of believe that they deserve it all. But loving women, very kind women, very heart-based women, they generally do not move in this way. But unfortunately, many of them struggle with their weight. They struggle with trying to be cute. They struggle with the very things that a lot of instinct-based women do not struggle with.
With not being the most petite, because, I'm working on my body. But it don't matter. It don't matter what you look like. Somebody gonna try to talk to you, okay? But to get so much attention makes women feel entitled. I've gotten attention all my life, and I can't say it no other way. It's gonna come across as bragging to somebody that hasn't, but since I was 13, I've been getting attention. So it's not new to me, and I'm not impressed by it. But for someone that may have done a lot of work, gotten the hair done, the nails, the lashes, which I still don't understand the lashes, get the lashes done, get the, sculpted body, get the BBL or whatever, they finally getting attention. And now they're going to demand money for their attention, for spending time with you. So I think it's because of social media. It's real bad in certain cities like Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, Chicago. Now, Chicago's not as bad as Atlanta. Atlanta is probably the worst because black women not only have the attitude, but they want to live a rich and famous life.
But, I can definitely, attest to some issues here in Atlanta. Because I'm in Atlanta. So like I say, that's here. I'm not going to lie about it. But again, I don't encourage the men that follow me and or the women that follow me, honestly, to be in the club or the hookah lounge. I could say hookah. I think that's how it's supposed to be said. The hookah lounge. I don't encourage that because that's really where the problem is. Atlanta has a lot of these entitled women. Yes, they have a lot of women that want to get their BBLs. Yes, they have a lot of women that are trying to learn how to do that glam thing when they walk around. Yes, and a lot of people in Atlanta fake break. That's just 100%. I mean, they will definitely tell you and act like they are living a high life when they broke as dirt. And the men here, I kind of hate to, say it for a lot of the guys here, but a lot of the guys here are broke. We talked about this all the time. There's less than 10% of men that are in the six-figure range. So what that means for women, 90% of the men that you run into are not going to be in that range. So you cannot walk into a room and believe that all these guys that are in the room are in that range. It's the same thing for, for women. But when you're trying to find somebody, I do not encourage you to go to these places. And if you do go to these places, you really need to kind of go in there almost with a little chip on your shoulder or with your eyebrow raised. Basically saying, okay, yeah, there might be somebody in here, but I don't really think there is. Instead, go into those places and just enjoy yourself. And then when you leave and you're going about your life and then you go to the softer places, that's where I would encourage people to find people. But like I said, everybody does what they're going to do. And I find that, it's hard to get people to break out of their habits, because if it's easy for a man to go to a hookah lounge and actually talk to 5 women and get 5 numbers, then he's going to tend to do that. And, but there are lots of still really great women who are humble, because the key to humbleness is just how a woman sees herself. It's really just about that. And I've always talked about middle school. And it's because, like I say, there are women that are in middle school that are girls that were in middle school that just went straight to the top. They always had the attention. And then you had other ones that never got the attention. But then later on, they learned how to glow up. Okay, so the ones that learned how to glow up, those are going to be your better ones, because they have had to go through an ugly phase. And so they generally remember the pain of not being desired. But they have to be at a place where that pain has kind of subsided a little bit, because you do get those women that are now like, well, I'm going to get what I never got. I'm going to get what I never got. And you have men that are like that too. They finally get their money. So now they're like, oh, I'm going to get what I never got. I'm going to get what I never got. But whatever is in the past, you have to leave it in the past. And you have to learn from it and then just try to exist right now in this space.
And do absolutely no work. The whole thing is soft life. And I don't know if that trend is still going on. But that's why.
I've actually thought about doing several videos on soft life. And, for the women that are watching, there's no real such thing as soft life. That exists extremely rare. Because in order to truly have a soft life, now we're not talking about being a stay-at-home mom. Being a stay-at-home mom is totally different than having a soft life. And then it's different if you're like a YouTuber or whatever, and you've gotten to that place where, your YouTube channel makes you your money, and you don't think that that is a lot of time and effort, and or you built a business, blah, blah, blah. See, that's a different type of soft life. What we're talking about here is this concept that somebody's going to take care of you for the rest of your life, and you're not really going to have to do work. And that for most women, I mean, when I say most women, I'm talking about probably less than 1 out of 1,000. I would even say maybe 1 out of 100,000 women will ever truly have that. Because if you are a stay-at-home mom, that is not a soft life. Taking care of children is a lot of work. Doing laundry, cleaning up the house, doing things like that, even taking care of yourself, that's work. Okay, and all the women that I know, even the white women that I know that live a life where their husband pretty much takes care of them, and they just have to watch the kids and take care of the house. I mean, these women, they own it. I mean, you see them in the gym. Now, they go to the expensive gym, but they'll be in that gym, an hour a day. When they sit down for a meal, they can't eat, no ham hocks and all this pork and all this other kind of stuff. They ain't eating no ribs. They eating a lot of salad. Okay, because they know in order to stay at that place, they have to maintain their figure. They are always, making sure that their beauty is on point, and that they really are doing everything that they can to basically lift their husband and keep their husband balanced. And that's a lot of work in itself. Okay, keeping up with trends, making sure that you're always, looking your best, blah, 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 plus taking care of the kids, plus taking care of the house. But when you're talking about true soft life is when you have a nanny and the nanny's taking care of your kids. You have a driver that picks the kids up and takes them back home. You have a maid that comes in and cleans up, and all you do is sit around the house all day on social media. Okay, and that's why I say that soft life, that's so doggone rare. And so people got to remember that half these people on the internet, they find a little nugget, that you're emotionally connected to, and then they just keep driving that thing home. And then, honestly, they're just making millions of dollars off of you, giving you a hope and a dream that more than likely ain't never gonna happen.
So you need to get a real woman, a real man, whoever you choose to be with, because I know there's men and women watch the channel, but get a real person that actually cares to get to know you. And how do you know if somebody actually cares to get to know you? They ask questions about you, not questions that will benefit them, like how much you make, where you live, and because they want to kind of gauge like how much your house costs and all that, like what kind of car you drive and all that. But just genuinely, like, where are you from, how many siblings you have, what do you like to do on the weekends, where do you like to travel, what is your favorite food, like these questions that like trying to get to know you as a person. And if they actually listen and make some effort, like texting you back or texting you first or calling you.
I definitely agree, with that last little bit, that she said, because at the end of the day, it really is important, that both people are trying, that they're putting effort into the relationship, and that they're moving forward in a direction that works. I think overall, this particular video about the entitled black women, or the black women that are so hard to please, I believe that there's ones out there. But again, I would encourage the women that are watching not to be one of them. And I would encourage the men that are watching that don't get frustrated. Because one of the things that I've been trying to encourage all of you to recognize is that whatever energy that is within you precedes you. Okay? It really does. Okay? And I don't want to wax, too spiritual and get in all to the metaphysical stuff, because I think some people take that metaphysical stuff way too far, and it's not really bringing glory to God. But I will say that there is a move. That is really how God works. And it even works within yourself. If you have the mindset that there are really great people out here, that I am going to find a really great person, that I am a wife and or I am a husband, and I am going to get out here and my person is near, and you walk in that energy and you're like, I feel like in the next 3 years, I am going to be married, then I believe that that can happen for you. And I believe that you can make that happen. But if you focus in on the negative, if you focus in on the entitled, on this, on that, and all these bad people, what happens is that is what's brought to you. See, whatever you focus in on the most is what comes to you, because that is the energy that you're in. So when you are depressed, when you are worried, when you are frustrated, when you are this, when you are that, then those things come to you. Okay? But if you focus in and you're like, look, I want to be married. I have marriage energy. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm lining up with this. I'm lining up with that. I'm walking in this. I believe it can happen for me. Then it's going to happen for you. But if you don't, then it might not. Anyway, please like, please subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.